I know I said that the last episode was gonna be the finale of this mini-series, but it's incredible. As I look around, I keep finding all these pieces of information which are so utterly useless!
And maybe I'm gonna have enough even for another episode, if you may want it.
And so welcome, I'm Frapollo94, and today we're gonna go over another 50 useless facts in Fear and Hunger! And we can immediately start with something that I don't even know if it was intentional or not. As you know, after a certain amount of time, the demon baby grows into the demon kid. What is this time? 400 seconds. And what's so special about it? Well, let me tell you, 400 seconds is exactly 6.66 minutes. Huh. Quite a peculiar number in there. If you keep annoying Enki in the first level of the dungeon, once you reach level 7, he will decide to stop you on the door and attack you spontaneously. Because in his plans, you are too unpredictable. If you kill Darcy, it doesn't matter where. It can be in Mahabre after Ragnvaldr kills Legard. It can be in front of Legard when Ragnvaldr kills it. I see a pattern in here. Or in the Cave Dweller village, you cannot beat her up. Yeah, you don't have the option to beat Darcy up. There isn't gonna be any no reaction but its satisfying moment. If you talk to Nosramus in the mines and then find Legard dead, Nosramus will appear outside of the room to tell you that there is something more in the depths. And after this mysterious dialogue, they will just go back to the mines, and that's it. But it still adds some pretty nice flavor. You know how in the Exen you're able to learn new skills for your main character? Well, you can learn skills even without having the full connection to the start of the skill tree. As you can see here, I don't have the very first skill of the domination skill tree, but I'm still able to learn leg sweep. Because I already have the skill immediately before that. This may come up in some strategies, maybe, but it's so situational that I consider it basically useless. When you fight the two Dark Priests together, remember, the left priest is the only responsible for the coin flip. If you kill that one, there will be no coin flip at all. And since we are talking about coin flips, do you know when you enter into the battle with the Lord of Flies, there is a chance for a coin flip attack to start. And if you fail it, you will take 10 damage. There is a peculiarity though. This attack, this damage, cannot kill you. If you have less than 10 HP, you're gonna go to 1. And they have the audacity to say that Fear and Hunger is punitive. Look! A coin flip which doesn't kill you. While you crawl in the final ending A cutscene or in a few other death cutscenes such as the one of the Lizard Man, you are slightly slower than the normal crawl speed. And if I understood correctly how this works, I think you are going at half the speed. And I think it's pretty clear you're going slower when I show you both the recordings at the same time. Flock of Crows, the final skill of the God of the Depths skill tree. In power almost as useful as Black Orb, has no skill description. Was this intentional? You know, it's funny because in the previous episodes, when I said that the vault key has no description, some people in the comments said that is normal because you are not supposed to know which door does it open, so I guess you have to find an excuse for this as well now. The damage from dots, for example burn, poison, bleeding, is a percentage on your max HP, which means that if you really wanted, you could intentionally reduce your max HP, for example with the fracture, or by becoming hungry in order to take less damage from the dots. Is this ever gonna be useful? I dare you to find a situation where this is useful. When you're in the basement and you sleep in the Chromolar's bed, you will notice after the battle you're gonna be invisible for almost a second. That's because normally your character's sprite is made transparent when you have to sleep, but for some reason in here it's not immediately brought back to existence, it stays transparent for a little bit more. As you know, there are scrolls which teach skills to any party members you want. You know what's my favorite combination? Najwa can learn leg sweep in this way, but since he cannot equip a sword, it will never be usable. Why doing something like this? Poor Nashra! The door in the basement behind the Iron Shakespeare, the door that connects you to a pair of bone shears, is the only door in the game which can only be destroyed. Sir Seymour has a total of 6 different phrases he can say at the end of the turn, and some of them are even specific to the turn number, which I think was done to create variety instead of just having the same phrase repeated over and over again. The Spear Cave Dweller has an incredible property. His torso is gonna always act first using tackle if he doesn't have arms. Always. You can have 10 agility, 20, 40 if you combine the White Angel Soul with fast stance. He will always go first. The Demon Baby is immune to Ragnavalder coin flip. Yeah, you heard me right. Ragnavalder using marksmanship on the Demon Baby will not do anything. Is this an error of the game? Or is Ragnavalder too kind to actually kill a child? Aw, you little daddy, you don't want to harm the child. Aw, how polite of you. The next one is a very nice touch. You know, crows fly away when you come close in the entrance of the dungeon. But one thing you may not know is if you wait long enough and the dogs spawn in there, then in the moment in which the dogs spawn, the crows are gonna fly away as well. They are scared of the dogs. You see, it's the little cure in details like these which make me love this game. And talking about little details, did you know, in the gauntlet, there are those weird things that spray poison on you? And here comes the peculiarity. If an enemy enters in that spray, they are gonna be poisoned for the battle. You have no idea how much I love this. Gameplay-wise, it's not gonna be useful because by going on the right, you can just skip the opponent very easily, no skill required. But it's so good seeing opponents being actually damaged by the same things that damage you. Hello, it's Trapollo from the future, and no, they are always poisoned, not only when they pass through the poison, but it's still pretty funny. The next one is a little bit tricky. Have you ever noticed that sometimes the uterus notices you even when she's looking in the other direction? Well, that's because the front sprite and the back sprite of the uterus are the same. Yeah, when she's in this position, she may be looking upwards or downwards, you don't know. The only way to figure it out? To go up or down and to see when she notices you. That means in that moment she's looking in that direction. Bear traps are not gonna work on cave gnomes because of course they are flying, and not even on spiders because I think the spiders are very small, so they can just pass through the bear trap with no problem. Alright, so this next fact is a bug technically, but I still want to mention it because I want you to do something with it. If you burn in the Golden Temple and immediately leave, you have just barely enough time to exit from the room. Congratulations for your new Fortnite skin, Burning Alive Man! In this condition, you cannot open the menu and several events will change you back to the normal sprite. But you know why I'm mentioning this? You are slightly faster than the normal speed at which you run with dash. The only downside, if you enter back into the Golden Temple, you are gonna burn alive. And here there is my question. Speedrunning community, can you make this useful? Trying to live for ending E with Lagarde in party will make him always stay in the dungeon. But, and here there is the useless fact, if you have Darcy in the party as well, she will stay with him. Not displayed in the ending image, she is truly devoted to Lagarde. It's funny because if you think about it, off-screen they are gonna beat the new gods, and then Lagarde sits on the throne and she's like, what? You may know, normally on dead party members except Lagarde, you can use a soulstone. Well, there is another peculiarity. Demon Kid will not give you a lesser soul. Because I guess it's technically an artificial life form, therefore it's missing a soul even here. It makes sense. Stealing from Embryo is a Stealing from Embryo is a coin flip? And what happens if you fail the You got caught in act? By that? Huh? If you are the marriage or the abominable marriage and you lose a battle with the guard, you will never trigger the death cutscene where the guard violates you. I guess even the guard has its own standards. Now, the next fact is... oh boy, the next one is personal. The next one is very personal. Sewing off a skeleton leg, you get a skeletal leg, which can only be obtained in this way, and does literally nothing. Yes, I already mentioned this in my iceberg video, but god damn it! You have no idea how many people under that video told me, actually the skeleton leg is a secondary weapon for the girl. No!
Sorry, this is not meant to be an attack. I love you.
The red man, which mind you should never fight because there is no reward and it's very slow. In the Tomb of the Gods dies normally by laying on the ground, but in the Temple of Torment, the one which is chained to the temple is gonna have his head cut off. An exclusive sprite for this particular red man. Love to see it. Shadow people in Mahabre have a precise movement pattern they always follow. Except this one. This one will constantly try to come near the player. And this can even result in some bizarre situation because he can walk on the wall, he can... I think I could say more, but you know what? I'm gonna leave you the possibility to experiment more with this. If you never trigger the elevator with the lever and traverse the whole dungeon and take the elevator from the mines, the lever will be automatically pulled and will not budge anymore. The next one may be considered even useful, but you're already in a bad situation if you are in there, so not really. Falling down from the Cave Dweller Village Hall only removes a leg if you didn't already lose one. What does this mean? If you're already missing a leg, you won't lose the second leg. Why useless?
The rope is there, 10 meters away.
Darkness comes closer and closer at the start of each turn of the battle against Nasha. On the very last one, the same turn in which he kills you, he's gonna go from 100% physical evasion to 95% physical evasion. This means, with something like a War Scythe or Skeletons, you can potentially land a hit on him. The highest chance to apply a state, which is not 100%, is 98% from Purifying Black Flames to apply Burning. Wow, 2 people out of 100 got saved from the burning of Purifying Black Flames, wow! We come back once again to our favorite mechanic in the game, Bear Traps. Of course, they cut off your legs in the Tomb of the Gods, but did you notice they also reduce your HP by 15? A character with Brain Flower can be countered by your own team. Do you want Ragnavaldr to kill Legard without Darcy becoming an opponent? Psh, very easy, just make Legard get Brain Flowered and then attack Ragnavaldr and counter it for like 1000 damage. Darcy is too stupid to realize Legard died in there. With an empty scroll you can potentially get the best items and skills in the game. So of course if you write "Oh Lord, give Pinecone," you will not get 1 Pinecone. You will get a grand total of 20 Pinecones. And we all know the incredible amount of applications of Pinecones. You can do the Pinecone Pig, which requires 1 Pinecone.
This is the developer laughing at you. Congratulations, you are now carrying 19 pinecones you will never use.
In hard mode, you cannot save or get the Book of Enlightenment. So, what happens if you try to get one with the empty scroll? Olmir gives you no salvation this time around.
Mom, I'm scared. Can you keep continuing the video in my place?
You will know this one if you watched my previous videos on phobia. Doors trigger panphobia. And you know what's funny? Some people even try to justify it in the phobia video. And it really makes me feel happy because that's a pretty nice justification. They said something along the lines of, you are scared of what's behind the door. I feel very happy. They watched my videos and they made an interesting reasoning. Moving on, I'm waiting for an explanation on why Valtail does not trigger panphobia, okay? Nashra and the baby demon will never leave the dungeon, with no particular explanation. What? In a single run, you can only get a total of 3 bear traps from empty scroll. What? What? You can only get a total of 3 bear traps from empty scrolls? What is that limitation for? Is anyone ever gonna use a single empty scroll on a bear trap? I am not sure, but I think in almost all these episodes we have always had at least one entry related to bear traps. This is the true MVP of this series, and there is the cherry on top. This 3 bear trap limitation also applies to any bear trap you find in Dungeon Nights. Wow. There is one particular conformation of the entrance of the dungeon with 2 collapsed walls instead of 1, which you can open with an explosive vial. Even though one of those is basically almost empty, so it's not really worth it to even save scam to find this conformation. You may know the yellow mage without legs is gonna stand still, but the yellow lizard mage? No. If you cut off the legs of the yellow lizard mage, which normally dances, he is still able to crawl. Well, to be fair, it is a straight upgrade, isn't it? Back to the empty scroll shenanigans. Oh Lord, give Cloth Cape. Have you ever heard of the name Cloth Cape? I think no, because it's a piece of equipment which does not work. You can get it, but doesn't have a sprite, cannot be equipped by anyone. Why is this thing here? If you try to interact with Jeanne without defeating the Lord of the Flies, it tells you to kill the Lord of the Flies first. I think it was done to prevent people from just dodging him and saving Jeanne, maybe? If Enki leaves your party when you enter into the Grand Library and you change time, he will not be present. Vice versa, if you enter in the Grand Library in the present, Enki leaves the party in there, and if you go into the past, he will not be present. And I just realized I may have created some confusion by intending present as the time, but also as the word that means when a person is there, whatever. Counterattacks are equal to the amount of attacks which attack you. This means 1 physical attack, 1 counter. You can counter 2 times in a row. Mad Rush is 5 physical attacks. So in case you survive, you're gonna counter 5 times. And so on. Do you know in battles when you perform an action which makes the opponent unable to act for some turns? That is a state, and that state has a name. Can't do shit. Every time you kill a limb of the butterfly, there is a specific message shown for each. Yeah, this is not gonna prevent me from murdering him. Sorry, not sorry. The next one is dark, honestly. And I mean, okay, we are playing Fear and Hunger, but I mean Fear and Hunger levels of dark. As you may know, if the main character loses all the limbs, both the arms and the legs, they will not be able to act in battle anymore. And once you go back to the overworld, you can either decide to stop breathing or to hold on. The next step is obviously a game over. And here we arrive to the dark part. If a party member which is not the main character loses all the limbs, they will instantly die, even if they have the Old Guardian Soul on. Do you realize the implication if not even the Old Guardian Soul works? Your party member spontaneously decided to give up and to stop giving a hell in the world. Oof, it was supposed to be just a useless fact. I felt chills down my spine when I realized it. If you fail the necromancy on the skeleton and enter into the battle, you can steal for either opium powder or a pipe. Oh, I see. So the Moonless Guard is naked, so you cannot steal anything, but literal bones are hiding drugs. Drugs which, mind you, are not present at all if you just success in necromancy. They just disappear in thin air. And how possibly can we conclude this 50 useless facts video if not with something that leaves no salvation at all? If you try to use the unalive skill without arms, the game will not let you do that. It is too late for you. The joke is on you, game. I can beat the game without arms all the time. And I think that's gonna wrap up even this episode. Let me know in the comments if you liked it. I always find fascinating how every time I think I reached the bottom, there is still something more to dig. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, that's gonna help me a lot. But for today, I was once again Frapollo94, and I will see you next time. Oh, and if you're interested, I wait for you 2 hours from now on Noita stream.